Okay folks, here's a banjo ukulele that I actually fixed up. It's a Dallas, and it's a George Formby endorsed Dallas, and this is a Model A. They made the Model A, B, C, D and E, and the Model A was considered the starter model. But to be honest, I like it as a sort of, not just a starter one, because it's a very lightweight one, ideal for busking and carrying around. The distinct thing about the Model A is what we call the F-holes at the back. It's very pretty, that. Anyway, let me just tell you what I do. I try and keep them in as original as possible. When I first started doing this, I used to rub them all down and make them look like new, but that took half the character away. So I keep as much of the original, but just make it look nice. But I've put new machine heads on, these adjustable friction tuners, and I've also put washers on so they work smoothly and hold the tuning. Very important. I've adjusted the action. It's got a very low action. That's for doing the George Formby type strumming. Basically, the lower the action, the easier it is to strum. The higher the action, the louder it is. But when I sell these, I supply a couple of extra, or an extra bridge of a different height, so you can change the action. As you can see, I've adjusted the angle of the neck to the drum, which gives the action. A lot of people think you can just sort of shave down the bridge, but you can't do that, it doesn't work. It's got a nice detachable resonator. The resonator are held on by little brass screws, which I've actually oiled them and cleaned them so they can be taken out very easily. I was going to put washers on these, but you actually tend to get a sort of slightly buzzing noise if the washers aren't tight. And then these are CC's original. They're the spacers between the resonator and the drum, and the original ones have these like that. A lot of them just tack them straight down, and a lot of actually Model A's I've seen them just sort of tacked in rather than screwed on. It's got 8 adjustable side tensioners. You don't need any more than that. I don't know where this thing is about the more tensioners you have, the better it is. I can't see the point. You know, if you get too many, it just affects the actual sound, because and affects the weight, because there's more sort of metal for the sort of sound to sort of get lost in. 8's more than enough. And the other thing I did, I took off the original tailpiece, which was a bit big and heavy, and I put on a Gibson type Gale tailpiece. I think it's more in tune with the size. If you want the original one, get in touch and I'll fix one on, I think. But you can't beat these Gibson type ones. And when you're strumming, it protects your arm from the knot ends. It comes in its original, let's call it faux crocodile case. I'll tidy this case up a bit when you get it. It's all there. The handles and everything are there, and the hinges and that. I'll just tidy it up and smart it up so it'll look nice, and don't worry about that. Whey! Don't know what that was. I put my own make strings on. These are coloured strings, but they're very, very narrow, very thin gauge, and very sort of tactile, so they don't hurt when you press them down. But if you want me to put Aquila strings on instead, let me know and I will. They're a little bit harder on the fingers, Aquila, but they're about twice the volume. Now this is tuned to a standard tuning, G, C, E and A, but it's also, you can use these for the old-fashioned. The old-fashioned tuning was slightly higher, because in the olden days they didn't have the amplification they have now. So I'll let you hear what this sounds like with the old-fashioned tuning. So the G becomes A, the C becomes D, the E becomes F sharp, and the A becomes B. fell out of my boat yesterday when I was fishing and sort of banged my head a bit, so I feel a little bit concussed, so apologise if the tuning's not spot on. Anyway, that's the old-fashioned tuning. If you get a lot of old sheet music, a lot of the old sheet music is tuned to that, which is A, D, F sharp and B. See what it sounds like with that. Okay folks, if you want to, I'll be putting this on eBay I think, and if you want to get in touch with me, just write at jasperhappy@hotmail.com. If you've got any banjo ukes or things that you've got problems with or think I might be able to help you fix them up, get in touch with me. And the only bit of advice I can give you is when you buy a banjo uke off eBay, off me or anybody else, the most important thing is, unless you can do it yourself, is that it's set up properly to play. It doesn't matter what make it is, whether it's a Ludwig, a Dallas D, or a sort of John Windsor or whatever they are. Whatever they are, if they're not set up properly, you can't play them, you might as well hang them on the wall. So go for one that's been set up. Okay. So my dad used to start off his, when my dad was performing, always used to start off with this. He thought that was class. Thank you.